Try to imagine a human life with no clock, no calendar, no name for the year you were born. You can't, not really. But somewhere on Earth right now, someone is living exactly that life and has no idea you exist either. There are still people alive today who have never seen a car, a phone, a written word, or a single human being outside their own small group. Not in a museum, not in a documentary about the past. Right now, breathing the same air on the same planet while you watch this. Anthropologists and government agencies that track this kind of thing estimate there are somewhere around 100 uncontacted tribes remaining on Earth, totaling anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 people. Most live in the dense Amazon rainforest spread across Brazil and Peru. A smaller number survive on remote islands in the Indian Ocean and parts of New Guinea. Nobody knows the exact number, and that's the point. Uncontacted means exactly what it sounds like. No census, no language on record, no way to ask. Brazil's Indigenous Affairs Agency, FUNAI, has spent decades tracking these groups, not to contact them, but specifically to protect their isolation. Using aircraft flyovers and satellite imagery, researchers have spotted cleared land, longhouses, and even people looking up at the plane, all without a single word ever being exchanged. Contact isn't the goal. Confirming they're still alive and their land is still theirs is. Because contact historically has been a death sentence. When outsiders first reached isolated Amazonian groups in the 20th century, entire tribes were sometimes reduced by 90% within a few years. Not through violence, but through disease. A common cold, harmless to you, can be lethal to an immune system that has never encountered it. Isolation isn't just a cultural choice for these groups anymore. In many documented cases, it's an active, learned survival strategy, passed down after contact went catastrophically wrong the first time. North Sentinel Island makes this brutally clear. A small island in the Indian Ocean, home to the Sentinelese, one of the most isolated peoples on Earth. Indian law prohibits anyone from approaching within several nautical miles of the island specifically to protect them. In 2018, an American named John Chau ignored that law and paddled ashore anyway. Hoping to make contact, he was killed within hours. The island's residents had made their position clear for what researchers estimate is over 60,000 years of continuous, undisturbed presence. They do not want visitors, and they have the right, by international law, to be left that way. It's tempting to imagine these lives as primitive, a word that quietly implies unfinished or waiting to catch up. But anthropologists who study isolated societies push back hard on that framing. These aren't people frozen in time. They're people who have spent tens of thousands of years refining an entirely separate, fully developed way of living, one adapted precisely to their specific environment, with its own technology, its own medicine, its own deep expertise, passed down through direct experience instead of books. The linguist Daniel Everett spent years living among the Pirahã, an Amazonian group with limited outside contact, and documented something that stunned linguists worldwide. Their language appeared to lack recursion, a feature many linguists had assumed was a universal requirement for human language itself. The Pirahã also showed almost no interest in numbers beyond roughly 2 or 3, not because they were incapable, but because their entire culture is built around direct, immediate experience rather than abstraction. It isn't a deficit, it's a completely different, internally coherent way of organizing reality, one Western frameworks aren't automatically equipped to evaluate. Which raises an uncomfortable question. What exactly are we assuming is default human behavior? The version of humanity you know. Clocks, currency, written contracts, the internet feels like the baseline, the neutral setting humans return to once given the chance. But it's a recent, narrow slice of what being human has actually looked like. For most of the roughly 300,000 years our species has existed, no human anywhere had a clock, a written language, or a concept of a year. The Sentinelese aren't behind schedule. There is no schedule. There's just a different, equally complete answer to the same basic question every human group has faced. How do we survive here, together? Every uncontacted tribe alive today exists because at some point contact came, and something in them decided the cost was too high. That decision has been quietly renewed, generation after generation, right up to now. They are not remnants waiting to be found. They are a live, ongoing refusal still being made on a planet that mostly forgot refusal was an option at all.